Welcome to Hatman Strikes Back Daily Boxing News. So Tyson Fury posted this footage on his Instagram account. It's him looking in good shape by his standards, hitting the bag. And this naturally has fueled speculation that he is preparing to come back to the ring, preparing to come out of his quote-unquote retirement. Well, like most people, I think that Tyson Fury will come back, but I don't know whether a comeback is imminent or not, despite this training footage. And I say that because Tyson Fury, like many other showmen throughout the history of boxing, craves the limelight, loves the adulation from fans, the compliments and the slaps on the back. He's like an addict, whereby when he's no longer receiving those things, he gets withdrawal symptoms. Chris Eubank Sr., for example, another showman, he didn't crave the adulation as much as Tyson Fury. In fact, he quite liked some of the hostility and criticism he used to get, or at least he accepted it with grace. But he certainly loved the attention, for sure, Chris Eubank Sr. And since retiring from boxing many moons ago, he's been searching for other ways to get that attention. Right up until now, he's got his YouTube channel. He's found an avenue to get attention that way. And I'm not criticizing him. I enjoy his content, Chris Eubank Sr. The point I'm making is many boxing showmen in particular, it's not only boxing showmen, but in particular, find it difficult after they retire because they're no longer getting the same attention. And I'm sure that's the case with Tyson Fury. He's trying to find ways where he can still get attention, and perhaps posting this training footage is an example. But then again, it is also possible, alternatively, that he is gearing up for a comeback. Or it could actually be both, because you could be gearing up for a comeback, but you don't have to post your training footage, right? As I say, he looks in good shape by his standards. He might even be lighter now in this training footage than he was for his last fight against Usyk. It's possible looking at him, at least to my eyes. If he is gearing up for a comeback, who will it be against? Now, most people are going to assume that it's Anthony Joshua, but Tyson Fury is very rarely straightforward. So I wouldn't automatically jump to that conclusion myself. I'm not dismissing it, I'm just not automatically jumping to that conclusion. There's a reason that Tyson Fury quote-unquote retired. And it's not just because he was upset over the fact he lost to Usyk and people weren't buying his ridiculous "I got robbed" narrative. I suspect he retired, right, for similar reasons to when he retired previously on several occasions. It's part of what I call the Mayweather method. A fighter understands that boxing is a numbers game. The more fights you have, the more chance there is that you're going to lose, because every fight is a risk. So the fighters who adhere to the Mayweather method are basically reducing the amount of risk by not fighting as much as fighters of old, not fighting as much as some of the fighters that are around today at the top level, and instead being very strategic, like Floyd Mayweather used to be, after winning a fight, or in this case Tyson Fury losing to Alexander Usyk twice, retiring quote-unquote from the sport and waiting for your division to beat itself up. Because you don't want to have to fight your way back to a world title shot against dangerous contenders whose styles may not suit you. No. Instead, you retire. That way, there's no pressure on you to fight XYZ. You allow the fighters to fight each other. If there are any problematic styles, you allow the fighters with those styles to get beat or get damaged. And you wait for an opportunity where a fighter whose style that you do think suits you holds a world title, and then you come out of your supposed retirement. Mayweather did that for years at 147. I think that's what Tyson Fury is doing now. I think that's why he quote-unquote retired previously, because he was waiting for the dust to settle. He was waiting to see how the heavyweight landscape changed over a number of months, because that would then inform his next decision, his next move. So I think Tyson Fury's weighing up his options right now. Anthony Joshua, of course, being one of the options. I reckon he's thinking about what upside there is fighting AJ as opposed to any risk there is. And there's always a risk. It's heavyweight boxing. I would make Tyson Fury the favorite in that fight. I think most people would. But AJ's still a big, strong, athletic man who hits hard. It was only a couple of fights back when Tyson Fury got dropped and pushed to the limit by an absolute novice in Francis Ngannou. And of course, he's coming off back-to-back losses to Alexander Usyk. So Tyson Fury is aware of his own mortality, even if his fans aren't. That's why he's so strategic about who he fights and when he fights them, because he's always been aware of it. He's never thought of himself as being invincible the way his fans have, the way certain people in the media have. He may talk like he's invincible, but his actions tell a different story. So I think Tyson Fury's thinking about Anthony Joshua like, well, this guy just got cleaned out by Daniel Dubois. So the public would expect me, if I'm to convince the public that if I'm not number one, and I've tried convincing them of that I got robbed in the Usyk fights, if they're not buying that narrative, then at the very least, I want them to buy the narrative that I am the number two in the world. And as the number 2 in the world, they would be expecting me to go in there and do perhaps a better job on Anthony Joshua than Daniel Dubois did. If I can't do that, then maybe they're going to start saying that Dubois is number 2 and not me, and perhaps pressuring me to then fight Dubois. And I'm trying to limit my risks here. You see what I'm saying? So I don't think Tyson Fury's afraid of fighting Anthony Joshua whatsoever. I just think he's concerned about his public image. So he's wondering whether to take the AJ fight because, again, there'll be that pressure on him to do a better job than Dubois did, or at least equal the job that Dubois did. Now, perhaps if the money is big enough, and perhaps if Dubois gets beaten and, let's say, stopped again by Alexander Usyk, then Tyson Fury will say, you know what, I'll go ahead and fight AJ because Dubois has just been stopped again. So even if I don't do as good a job on AJ as Dubois did, people are not going to want to see me fight Dubois, or at least not as many people. There won't be as much pressure on me to fight Dubois because he's coming off a stoppage defeat to Alexander Usyk again. Tyson Fury doesn't have a long-standing rivalry with Daniel Dubois the way he does with AJ. Because, of course, AJ's coming off a stoppage defeat as well. But as I say, there's been a long-standing rivalry there that's gone back many, many years. AJ and Fury have been the two biggest figures in British boxing for at least a decade. So despite them both being past their best, particularly AJ, I'm sure there'd still be a lot of interest in the fight. I'm sure there still is a lot of public interest in the fight. Maybe not as much interest as there used to be, particularly among the hardcores, but the majority of people who would be watching this fight, as is the case with most big fights, would not be hardcores. They'd be casuals. Obviously, many of us hardcores would be watching, but like I say, the percentage of casuals that watch these mega fights is much higher than, let's say, the percentage of casuals that will watch a Boots Ennis versus Stanionis. Do you know what I mean? The casual to hardcore ratio is different for a fight like AJ versus Fury. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Tyson Fury posting his training footage on his Instagram page. Give me your thoughts in the comment section below. And before I go, make sure you check out my most recent bit of exclusive boxing content on Patreon. It's a 3-hour film study on George Foreman. That's 3 hours of me analyzing video footage, not still images, actual video footage of the most significant fights in George Foreman's career and explaining and breaking down what made him so effective. It wasn't just brute force and physical strength and punching power. No. Foreman had a much better boxing brain and was much more crafty and clever, even when he was young, than people realize or give him credit for. And I break it all down in a 3-hour George Foreman extravaganza on my Patreon page. If you want to access that video and many other boxing film studies I've done, as well as countless podcasts and what have you, just head on over to my Patreon page, which is called The Brotherhood of Reason, and select the tier called The Boxing Brotherhood. There's no contract, there's no commitment. You can cancel at any time, just like Netflix, and it's very reasonably priced. If you just want to sign up for 1 month and then check out, that's absolutely fine. So yeah, don't miss out on my George Foreman film study. You can access that and my entire back catalog for a very cheap price. It's great value. All of the links are in the description below. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Make sure you guys like this video, share it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I'll catch you on the next one. I'm out. If you want to access this video along with hundreds of hours worth of other exclusive boxing content, as well as our members chat, just head on over to my Patreon page and select the tier called The Boxing Brotherhood. There's no contract, no commitment. You can cancel at any time, just like Netflix, but it's a hell of a lot cheaper. Just download the app from the Play Store or the App Store. All the links are in the description box below. And just a quick money-saving tip for Apple users. If you purchase your Patreon subscription on the desktop site or on Android, then you'll avoid the ridiculous 30% fee that Apple charges for purchases made on the iOS app. So if you're on iPhone or iPad, save yourself some money by buying your subscription on the actual Patreon website or on Android because it's a lot cheaper. Once you've made that initial purchase, you can then use the Patreon app on your iPhone or iPad thereafter to access and enjoy your content as normal.